I'm angry, man. I'm not happy.
Yeah, yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, you picked Bilal over Brady.
I picked Bill.
Brady.
Yeah.
You picked Islam,
Yeah.
right? I think we. Oh no, I mean, I fanboy stand out for Charles Oliveira. I still do. It's very sad, very weird. A very weird card. Not what I thought it was gonna be. Kind of glad that I didn't ruin my family's Disney trip to stay. Because if I would have ruined my family's Disney trip to stay home and watch that,
Wouldn't have been worth it. And we'll, if I remember, we'll give it a letter grade once we finish talking about the main card.
okay.
But it's mostly the whole bantamweight picture that has me super irate coming out of this fight. But
Please,
we'll get to that when we get to it. I guess we'll give the people what they want first.
Let everybody know.
We'll give the people what they want first, and we'll talk about this main event because although it wasn't a very long main event, it did deliver, made up for a lot of the rest of the card because the undercard of this.
That was a very cool fight. That was a championship fight.
Yeah. So Charles Oliveira steps into the cage with Islam Makhachev, and they do battle. It was scheduled for 5 rounds for the vacant lightweight championship of the UFC, and it goes to the ground. It's kind of well, how do I kind of paint this picture? I don't want to say it's what we expected, but the fight sees a second.
It was what we knew in our hearts. It was what we knew in our hearts. I think we said it. We kind of knew. It's what we knew in our heads. It's not what our hearts wanted.
Mm.
But as it was happening, it was like, yeah.
I picked Islam Makhachev, and yet there were still things that shocked me about how this fight went down. But just to kind of like put it broadly, the fight sees a second round where Islam drops Oliveira with a left hook, I believe it was, and then he follows him down to the ground and very quickly locks in the arm triangle to get the submission. It's only the 4th time that Charles Oliveira has been submitted in his career. And I wanted to ask you, from what you saw in this fight, from what you were looking at, was this Islam capitalizing on one mistake, or were you kind of like me where halfway through round 1 it was
something very much different than what we've seen before?
Yeah, it was apparent that Islam was going to be our new lightweight champion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean sooner than a minute into the first round. For me, I was like, fuck. I straight up just said, fuck this, dude. God damn it.
Islam,
and then when I knew it, that hip throw is when I knew, when it was just like, okay, all right. Here we go.
That was a moment of, I don't give a shit what you are capable of. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
When Islam
guard, when Charles pulled guard like that, in that first round, I was like, okay. Well, he got hit. He felt the strength, and because we've seen, I think, almost every pod that you and I do, we say you can always tell what the fuck's going on by the way the guy reacts to what the other guy's doing to him. And as soon as he got hit standing up on the feet, he like, nope, and he pulled him down to the ground, which is very scary for where the perceived advantage was Charles standing up. Was the perceived advantage.
Yeah. Where we've seen
right away, he goes, no, I'm pulling you into my guard.
Yeah.
Why? Wow.
Right. Where we've seen Charles stand with real heavy hitters. I mean, all 3 of his title fights, Gaethje, Chandler, Poirier, and all of them dropped him also.
Yeah.
But despite being dropped by all of those guys, he was still willing to stand, to get back up and keep going with them because of, I guess, for whatever reason, he's felt that kind of power before, or he knows that he can throw back harder. I was shocked by Islam coming out and engaging in the stand-up right away, because that was one of my first predictions, was that Islam wanted nothing to do with the stand-up. He was going to come out and just take him straight down right away. So when I saw him standing with Charles and engaging him there, I immediately thought like, dude, what are you doing? You need to take him down now. And then it kept going, and he started to get the better of him. He started landing his shots. The right hand was free, and he was very measured about it. He wasn't brawling with him. Like, I think back to Khabib's fight with Justin Gaethje, where he just had no respect for him and was just like charging forward, pressing forward. Like, Islam was looking for his shots, and he was finding them. And yeah, it seemed apparent that Charles knew right away, like, okay, I'm gonna have to pull guard on this guy. Ultimately, the fight sees the ground for the ending sequence with a shot that drops Charles Oliveira. Any surprise about how quickly he tapped? I almost didn't even notice.
That didn't make sense to me. So it just was a weird tap too. It was like fuck, like a what?
As soon as weird is that? As soon as Islam Makhachev was able to get on his right side to really be able to crank it, like, he didn't even make him crank it. He was just like, oh, he's on that side. That's it. I'm done. That was really surprised. I was also really surprised at how fast Islam was able to pass to the other side, though, because it was one of those deals too. It was like, well, he's not going to get it from he's tapping. Like, what the hell?
He's fine. That arm, okay. Whoa, what?
Yeah, did he phase
with urgency? Just like, get the fuck off of me. Get off. It was like, dude, God damn, dude. It's, I don't know what else to say. I mean, Islam's going to be champ for a very, very, very long time.
I'm glad you said it.
Very long time.
Yeah, I'm foreseeing that
until he fights Arman Sarikian again.
Potentially, it should be a better fight.
A while, yeah.
And that's something I wanted to bring up because, and I wasn't going to transition to the whole booking of Islam versus Alexander Volkanovski just yet. But
weird again. That kind of made me mad.
I didn't like it either.
It was going to happen, and I don't like it.
I don't like it. I think
Beneil Dariush deserves it.
Beneil more than deserves it, and I've said my part about it when I thought it made a little bit more sense when there was talk of potentially doing, if Charles had won, and if they were thinking about doing Charles versus Volkanovski, then okay, I could see that a little bit more.
Right.
Because at that point, Charles Oliveira will have had 3 title defenses under his belt.
Yeah.
And Volkanovski would have 4. And we're not counting the fights where they won the title. I'm just talking about the defenses. So it's like, okay, you're building up, you're putting scalps up on the shelf, you're building up enough of a resume that, all right, we can justify this champion versus champion thing. I don't necessarily like it yet. I would like for them to wait longer, and both of them have very healthy, deep divisions that'll keep supplying them with a ready.
Did you see Khabib's take on it? Like, what would happen
with Volkanovski? Yes, I did. Where he openly was basically telling Volkanovski what to work on.
5 months to work on tight clinch.
Tight clinch for the knees, or just work on his defensive wrestling and his overhand. Yeah. I mean, Volkanovski certainly has the timing. I think the size and the frame and just the gap in wrestling skill is what's ultimately going to do it for Islam Makhachev in that fight. If I'm going to give an early prediction, I don't really think Volk has too much of a shot. I think it's a physical issue. I think he's
it's a tough, because I mean, you and I would never know. You know, only the guys that have been in the octagon or have trained with Islam would know the strength that he has, and that's all you hear is like, this guy's. I mean, it's so other. We've rolled with Khabib, we've rolled with Luke Rockhold, we've rolled with Jake Shields, we've rolled with all these people.
Ken Velasquez.
Yeah, and they're just not as strong as he is. He's just a different type of strong, which, like, you run into that in life, you run into that anywhere, where these guys are just freak strong, you know? And you just don't realize it until you they're either like, you're like kind of, have you ever had the homie where you're just like body shots, or you're kind of like one too many, and you're just, and then the guy just like, okay, stop. And you know, like, it's time to fucking stop. So if he has that, and he's taking on a guy like who's significantly smaller than him, who's already significantly small in his own division, and he's moving up, there's just, it's sad, but there's just no chance.
And then also, because you said it, I mean, it's very likely that that Islam Makhachev is a long reigning champion, and
Oh, it's gonna be
Alexander
years.
Vol- Alexander
And he's not gonna
Volkanovski's.
fight. He's not gonna fight that many times a year. If one, maybe two, maybe.
I mean, I'll take them at their word. They are
I won't.
insisting that they want to fight
I won't.
often, and
Yeah.
so I don't see why not. I mean, what's the Ramadan? Am I getting the holiday right for them?
Yeah, the fasting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's only a month, so I don't really see that interfering too much schedule wise. But either way, I'm surprised that there's not potentially more interest in a Charles Oliveira rematch first. But that wasn't even going to be my point, though. I'm all over the place right now.
Yeah, you are.
I could see Islam
Reel
being
it
a
back
long
in.
reigning
Reel it back in,
champion.
big hoss. Reel it in.
I can see Islam being a long reigning champ. Alexander Volkanovski's already showing us that he is a long reigning champ and will likely be a longer reigning champ. Because I mean, who's going to be a threat at this lightweight division? You said Arman Tsarukyan,
and that's the only Benil Dariush first and foremost.
I don't see
it. Deserves it? No, he deserves it.
He deserves. Oh yeah,
it's deserving. I don't see it either. But I mean, fuck. Did we see it this weekend? No. So
no.
And Gamrot has a similar. I mean, if you're gonna get any kind of close to the style that Islam may have, Mateusz Gamrot might be, in that ballpark or the arena. Not, a grappler, very supposedly strong grappler, well rounded all around, serviceable striking, and he had as far as Islam goes, is when we talked about we just haven't seen it, which I guess is ringing true now. We just hadn't seen him fight anybody. Now we have, and fuck. Okay, well, fuck. We're wrong. I'm fucking wrong. I mean, we both knew it would happen or could. It's not like out of nowhere, but I was fucking wrong. Hand up. I was fucking wrong.
For the listeners, wrong. He had his hand up.
Yeah, hand up. I was fucking wrong. At least this was not what I wanted. I took the hating ass posture of fuck that guy and fuck his team and fuck everybody else, and they're fucking.
We've done it. We've all done it.
Yeah, and so what? No. I mean, I gotta be a man here. Just let me be a man, okay? Just let me be a man here and say that I was wrong, and it was just, but I don't take what I said back. Like I feel in the moment when we were leading up to it, I still feel the same way. The arrogance is a little too much for me. Like, hey, you're great, but you don't have to be that. And I think it is more of his handlers that are more like that. He seems more of a humble, like, I'm just getting coached and managed and I'm here to fight. These guys are kind of hyping it. I don't know how to do that. I don't think he'll ever be the hype guy. And I think they know that too. And I think it's an overcompensation where they know he's not going to go out and fucking just get crazy on the mic. He's going to just go out and fucking kick the shit out of fucking people. And they're going to have to help him with that.
Yeah. Too humble, too soft spoken.
Yeah, he's just he's a fucking amazing student. You can see he's an amazing fucking student of the game, and he's just he's taking it to the level that his coaches and his predecessors. I think he's going to be way better than Khabib ever did. Maybe not, if they fought each other in their primes, who knows? But I think just the suddenness of Khabib retiring and Islam. The fact that he hasn't had as many fights against top level guys and he has so much to prove now that it's going to overlap the greatness that Khabib had. I have no doubt about that. Even if with the one loss, it's not going to. But, I'm sorry to go off on the rails here, but it's been bugging me just because I just like, fuck, man. You just did not want to see it this way. Where it was like, Chuck had nothing. He just had nothing. He's like, I got nothing. You're throwing fucking jump knees. You're fucking pulling guard. That's fucking regional show shit, dude. Sorry. I'm sorry, guy. Charles Oliveira is amazing. One of the greatest lightweights to ever fucking fight. Looking at his record when they were fucking calling him out, I was like, God damn, this motherfucker has 40-some fucking fights. I've been watching this guy for a decade. Like, God damn, this guy's really that motherfucker out here.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing shit that you see when guys just, they have nothing. They literally like, I got nothing. He's loading up. He was loading up his shots. He was fucking jump knees without any setups. He was fucking pulling guard. That's fucking like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens here.
And he looked like old Charles Oliveira. He looked like Charles before he went on his elite lightweight
blindness
run.
that was like helping him? Was it being blind? That's what I've heard. Like mythical fighter, blind Charles Oliveira is gone. Like TRTV tour.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Abu Dhabi Hamzat. It's fucking like mythical fighters where they have that aura about them where there's just something weird. And Mystic Mac, Conor McGregor, like just these guys that just have like that weird superpower, and it's gone. He can see now because he said like I was seeing 3 guys. I was seeing 3 people at some point.
Fifth round Lawler.
Yeah,
there are some. There are some that make it into the pantheon of mythical fighters that literally were never fight like a thing either. Like there's Chuck with that look in his eye. There was always that one.
Because, right.
Goldberg could never help himself from pointing out that he's got that look in his eye when he was walking in front of that fight. C-level Kane. That's a mythical one for sure.
Yeah.
Let's play like fantasy matchmaker a little bit to justify this Alexander Volkanovski fight in the future. Like if they weren't going to do this right now, because I mean I think we could probably predict pretty well, not saying in order, what I keep wanting to call him Charles, what Islam's first few title fights should look like. We know, and this isn't even going to be a list of like what we want them to do. This is what we think they'll likely do. One of them is probably going to be the winner of Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, right?
Yeah, I hope.
Unfortunately,
I forgot about those guys.
Unfortunately, I
forgot about those guys.
Yeah, and then also, I hate to say this too, but they're going to find a way to inject Conor McGregor into the picture.
They're going to have to.
Did you watch the post-fight scrum with Dana White, the post-fight press conference interview?
Where they talked about how he hasn't tested in 6 months, or he hasn't tested all year, and he has to go through a full 6 months of testing to get back in.
There was that, but I want to save that one for like our news segment towards the end of the episode. I don't want to make it all about Conor right now.
Yeah.
But just Dana was really short with the media and really fucking snarky. This
was a weird one. This was
And then some of the media pointed out that it's like
Aljamain to lose. I think he was very. We'll get into it. He wanted Aljamain to lose. I think that's for sure. I don't. Well, we're going to be stepping all over a lot, bringing up like the post fight with Dana. But
sure,
I think he wanted Aljo to lose. I think the Jan decision threw him off. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I think more so than anything, he really wanted Aljamain to lose. I think he really, because it was such a weird matchup in the first place. So Dana must have really have seen something where, like, I think Dillashaw can really put some damage on Aljo if he was 100%. There's just something weird. You hate to say that about the guy that runs the whole fucking promotion. I think that was it. I got
the sense that he doesn't care anymore. That's the whole vibe I got from his post.
Oh, is that right?
Just that he is checked out. He doesn't give a fuck. The money's still coming in. He started this fucking slap fight like promotion thing that he's pushing.
Oh yeah,
which is just such a bad look. While you're simultaneously trying to pretend that you are like trying to promote safety in this sport and everything for, you know what I mean, like fighters' health and safety and CTE awareness and all that stuff. But then you start this fucking slap fight nonsense. What are we doing, dude?
Yeah, dude.
The dumbification for the fucking casual fan. It's just
I saw that on Twitter where they said they're starting, and I go, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like Beaver Smash or something, where they're like, I don't know. They shot their shot. I was thinking like they shot their shot with 280. Where it was supposed to be this fucking dynamite card, fucking old school pride, fucking blowout.
Right.
and it just didn't go that way.
Wet
And
fart.
maybe he was upset with that.
Yeah.
Maybe, or he was just like, I don't know, dude. If I can put a card like this together and the shit just goes like this,
Yeah.
the fuck am I supposed to do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't fucking make these motherfuckers kill themselves in the cage.
I could see that.
10 G's.
I could see it. What is he supposed to say after the fact to save the card?
That's like, you've got family coming over. You know they're coming. Maybe even a couple family members are coming over from out of state, and it's your turn to barbecue. And it's like, oh, I got it. I got the fucking ribs. I got the fucking tri-tip. I got the fucking sides. Everything's on the fucking, and the shit just is mid as fuck. And everybody's like, no one's saying this was good. And then you're just at the end, you're cleaning up, and you're just like, fuck, I don't know why I cooked all this shit. I don't know why I fucking did all this shit. No one even gave a fuck. And the shit didn't even slap all that hard.
I can see that, but I don't think he gives a fuck what what people think of the card afterwards, because the money's going to be the same. I think as long as the checks keep cashing, Dana White's content. Yeah. I got the sense that he's allowing the bar to be lowered to such an extent that, like, I know it sounds gross what I said, that they're going to find a way to inject Conor McGregor into this, but I think they
have to. They have to.
And okay, let's transition to the co-main event to really talk about how much they lowered the bar. This is what really, really pissed me off, is that we got this fight. They marched TJ Dillashaw's busted ass into that cage with a gimpy arm that apparently they've known about since April. And this,
he knew about it, right? Because apparently Dana, that's the weirdest part of this whole fucking thing, was that Dana said, I didn't know. You'd think he'd fucking tell me. And then TJ
that could be
was
Dana
like, well, I gotta
covering
get
his
paid.
ass, but...
I gotta get fucking paid. Which TJ Dillashaw, okay, everyone's like, he's tough, he's this, he's that. But he just straight up said, without saying, like, I held up this whole fucking division full of fucking killers.
Got to apologize.
I needed to get fucking paid.
Hey, TJ, apologize to Jose Aldo, you fucking bastard. This is who we set. This is, instead of, oh my God, I'm so angry that they decided to make Jose Aldo fight Merab at Elevation and step him aside and gift TJ the title shot when he lost that fight a year ago against Corey Sandhagen. And then we find out that he was never going to be viable to begin with. His shoulder had been popping out of its socket since April, apparently.
Yeah.
And he still decided to go forward and screwed not just Aldo, literally. There's plenty of other people in that division who they could have justified giving a title shot to.
You know what, dude? Man, I did not think of the Jose Aldo angle in all of this.
It should have been Aldo.
Because if he would have known, if it was in April, you pull him from that fucking Merab card and you say, hey, sorry about that, guys. We're going to just give you what you really want. Which, I mean,
what? I don't. So perfect. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on what you were saying.
No, not at all. Please,
I don't understand what Dana sees in TJ.
You got carte blanche here. Go.
I mean, none of it's really an organized thought. It's just anger. It's just anger at TJ. I don't understand what the promotion sees in him. He's a great fighter when he's healthy. When he's not, when he's not injured,
healthy. He's cursed.
He's a fantastic fighter, and I really like watching his fights. He's an entertaining fighter as fuck. He's cursed.
That's
sure.
Cursed. You're cursed because you don't just straight lie to fucking people. You don't do that. That's kind of like. But it's par for the course, because it's like, okay, dude, if you know you're hurt since April, you know this is a championship fight, co-main event on the biggest card in the last, I don't know, 3-4 years. This is on paper one of the bigger cards in the last 5 years for me. There's been some bigger ones, but they're all kind of cards that played out. I've never been in a part of something where it was like such a fucking lead up, a build up to something. And you're the co-main, and you know your shoulders hurt like that.
Telling the referee beforehand, like, "Hey, my shoulder might pop out of its socket," like backstage, like going into the fight. I don't know what to make of the whole thing.
That's Bush. It's Bush League. There's gonna be. Do you think more will come out where like Dana did know? Dana got this, and they still just let it go.
Well, how much of a coincidence do you think it is that out of the
Henry
blue?
Cejudo,
Well, no, that out of oh my God! Thank you for reminding me. And now, okay, I'll get to that. But how much of a coincidence is it that that out of the blue they decided that this week of all weeks, that they're not going to allow fighters to bet on fights anymore? That you can't do that. That's illegal. I have a feeling a lot more people knew about this TJ Dillashaw busted shoulder situation.
Good catch, Efrain. Good catch. That was a odd timing for it.
And they questioned Dana in the post fight scrum, and he was just like, we just thought that it was a bad look, to have fighters betting on fights. It just didn't. What you guys advertise gambling nonstop throughout all of your programming. Like, what are we talking about here?
No, literally, Anik is talks. He pretty much every fight, one of the rounds, he does an ad read for a betting site, a gambling site. So
that suddenly the fighters can't bet on themselves. One of the quickest ways for them to potentially really, really, truly believe in themselves and double up or triple up their money or whatever. But yeah, now with all of this, we're left with a shell of a bantamweight title fight, which, by the way, we haven't even said the results. Was it a TKO? Let me pull up the card. Strikes from backmount. Yeah, the first. Aljamain was actually doing well on the feet with TJ.
And it sucks for Aljamain.
He doesn't get it
because what the fuck's he supposed to do? He got fucking kneed. Okay, whatever.
Legitimately.
It's a controversial fucking decision with Peter Yan. Okay, and now TJ Dillashaw fucking knew his shoulder was out. But so with all of that, I guess shouldn't he have just killed TJ Dillashaw in the fucking ring then?
That's what I saw. He did. I'm
surprised he could have done worse, right? Don't you think he could have done a lot worse?
I'm surprised it got to round 2.
Sloppy tits, no mercy, yelling.
I think his shoulder popped out. We'll fucking pull it off and beat him with it.
All you heard is fucking Hasbullah's little squeaky voice, and then you heard Ray Longo's tits slapping, yelling "No mercy."
I think I'll credit TJ Dillashaw's toughness for actually making it into that second round. He shouldn't have. The referee should have actually stopped it once, because it was very apparent. Apparently he told the referee before the fight that his shoulder might pop out, and then it was very, very clear that that's what happened in the first round. So how the referee decides that he can still continue to fight into the second round like that is pretty suspect. But I think, I'll hand it to TJ and give it to him for the toughness for doing that, because I did see Aljamain targeting the shoulder. Well, Aljamain said that he wasn't actually fully aware of what was injured on TJ until the break, and until he went to his corner and they explained what was going on. Right. But when he was hurt,
the first break,
but the only break, when he was hurt to that arm, though, it did look like Aljamain was targeting it and was kicking to that shoulder. He might not have known that it was specifically the shoulder, but
it's kind of like the way he gets down there, which is credit to him. He's just a nasty fucking guy. But he had that wrist, and he was like pushing the shoulder into the mat. And I was like, oh, that has got to fucking be excruciating, because Aljamain Sterling's fucking jacked as fuck, strong as fuck. That guy's strong. That guy's fucking like strong, like East Coast fucking wild ass motherfucker strong. And he at one point he had TJ's wrist extended. He was laying on top of him doing that, almost like the Dagestani style, where he's pushing down on TJ with his chest, pushing TJ into the mat. So TJ's like fucking folded up, shoulder down, wrist out into the fuck, and I'm like, God damn. And then getting punched in the side of the, God damn. That's rough.
He's a mean one. And we know who, I'm pretty sure we know who Aljamain Sterling will be fighting next. But what do you feel is next for TJ Dillashaw at this point in his career, given the injury that he's dealing with right now? we don't really know what his turnaround time will be or when we could expect to see him again. But it's a safe bet.
I'd like
Probably
to see
won't
him
be until
fight Song
2023.
Yadong. Somebody from Team Alpha Male, and just like Song Yadong, just take him the fuck out. Just fucking take out the trash.
That's a really good pick. It's one I had not considered. I forgot about the Team Alpha Male affiliation.
I think Song Yadong is going to want, coming off a loss, he's going to want to come out, and coming off a loss that he did not look bad in, he's going to want to come out soon, where it looks like TJ's probably going to need a year. I mean, fuck.
Yes. Yeah, that's the tough part, because I probably wouldn't expect to see TJ back in there until summer of 2023.
Maybe Song Yadong gets another fight in, kind of moves up the rankings, and then fights TJ in a year, a fight after. That's what I want to see, Song Yadong and TJ Dillashaw get down. I just love Team Alpha Male versus TJ Dillashaw. I love that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really thought about it, but I don't see why they can't go back to the well with that. I mean, I'm sure it will still sell. I mean, he had his 2 fights with Cody Garbrandt already, and they didn't exactly bury the hatchet with that fight. It was just kind of a chapter in the whole book of TJ Dillashaw versus Team Alpha Male. But there's some definite intrigue there with Song Yadong, and even if a year from now Song Yadong is ahead of TJ in the rankings because he's been putting in work while TJ's been on the shelf, I'm sure that's still a fight that Song Yadong would happily expect, because TJ is a marquee name. Or I don't think he's that much of a marquee name, but apparently the UFC thinks he is. So
yeah, that's why Aljamain took it, because he was a name, and he was. I mean, if he wouldn't have been injured, and even in a loss, maybe it was a close decision with Aljo, he could have still been in that. He would have been in the conversation for one of the best bantamweights ever. He's not, but he could have been in the conversation for it. So I don't know. That's who I want to see. Dream matchmake. I want to see Song Yadong end his fucking career a year from now, or however long he needs.
There's a lot of. I'm looking at the bantamweight rankings right now. If a year from now, roughly a year from now, when TJ comes back, or next spring or summer, if Aljamain Sterling is still champ, that means Merab will still be the gatekeeper. So Merab versus TJ is a fun fight. Peter Yan versus TJ is a fun fight. There's so much they can do.
Peter Yan versus TJ is a real fun fight, but I think Yan's gonna want to get in there fast, because it was only a 3-round fight, where he definitely took the less of the damage, which we'll talk about. Merab too. I guess Merab, out of all of those guys that you just named, probably makes the most sense, but I mean, he's been on the show for a few months already. He's not going to wait a full 16 months to fight again. He might, just because his friend's the fucking champ.
Yeah. The implication being that he'll be around, but if unless somebody dethrones Aljamain Sterling, he likely won't be the champion at the time, because we know who Aljamain Sterling's next fight will. I'll put money on it. Like, I'm pretty confident they're going to go this direction, even though Dana kind of ran it back. Shukashan O'Malley, and we can use that as our transition to talk about the next fight.
Cejudo? You don't think they're going to do Cejudo?
I hope not, man. Okay, the whole Cejudo thing.
It's going to be Cejudo. It's going to be Henry Cejudo. I think they're going to do
so embarrassing if it's Cejudo. I will, and that'll just goes back to what I said about Dana dropping the bar.
Thing was embarrassing. The TJ Dillashaw thing, even because he didn't beat Corey Sandhagen.
No, he didn't.
So he still got the title shot. Didn't beat Corey Sandhagen. He took a hell of a beating with a fucked up knee. If that means anything, hey, well then, okay, yeah, title shot. But it doesn't make any sense. Cejudo makes more sense than TJ Dillashaw made sense to me. Cejudo didn't end his career like a piece of shit, fucking off a fucking long ass suspension, fucking up your knee in a fight you lost to Corey Sandhagen, backing your way into a fucking title shot, as much you and I, neither you or I give a fuck, could care less about Henry Cejudo or really care for his antics, but he's a great fucking fighter. One of the best fighters ever in UFC history. Yes. One of the best combat sports fighters in the world.
He's great. So undeniable.
So I mean, it makes a lot more sense than Dillashaw Aljamain.
On paper, it makes all the sense in the world. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Henry Cejudo back holding the belt.
It doesn't hold the vibe check. It's not. It's definitely not a vibe check fight.
I'm mostly just surprised that the UFC would ever even entertain it, or that Dana White even said his name, because he pretty much screwed over the UFC when he retired. Like, he was finally starting to get popular. I mean, for all the wrong reasons, for his King of Cringe bullshit, but it was working. He was getting engagement. People were actually talking about Henry Cejudo, and then he went and just tried to play hardball and try to run away with 2 titles. He retired when he was double champ, so he immediately made 2 titles vacated, and the UFC hates that. I know they hate that, and I know that's part of the reason why they've not been in the Henry Cejudo business for a while now, even though Henry's been very vocal about the fact that he's ready to come back, and
I think he just does not like Aljamain Sterling. I think he just does not like Aljamain Sterling.
Oh no, he doesn't.
He knows.
Did you see what he tweeted?
No, I didn't.
He tweeted, "Let's bring this title back to America," which is the most xenophobic, racist bullshit. Like, dude, shame on you, Henry Cejudo. You're a fucking moron, dude.
Yeah. And, well, I did not see that. Okay.
You're processing that.
Yeah. I just don't get it. I mean, because we love Aljamain Sterling. He's great. He is who he is.
He reps Jamaica, but the man is American. Like,
come on, dude. That guy's fucking Long Island kid. That's you're talking about Bruce Springsteen country, pal. They play the boss at Walmart. Like the music at like CVS, they play Dancing in the Dark.
Yes.
You're like waiting in line and like dancing in the dark. That's where that guy's from. Okay. I mean, Henry's what? You're a Mexican American, Henry Cejudo. From Arizona, from a border state.
Yes. Aljamain is arguably more American than you. Which is a stupid argument to even like start making.
It's not even. But I mean, okay,
it's not our argument.
Did win a gold medal on our behalf in the Olympic Games. Thanks, dog. Thanks for bringing that home. Appreciate that.
I wasn't complete till he did that. God knows.
Yeah. But it's just, I just think that Dana doesn't like Aljamain as a champ. He knows that O'Malley is not. For as great as O'Malley looked in this fight, for as championship has shown that he's ready for a championship fight, he is. But he's not ready for a Aljamain Sterling championship fight. There's 2 different things. Those are 2 different things. He would be ready for a championship fight against almost any other bantamweight outside of Aljamain and Merab. He's probably ready to fight Cheeto again. He's probably ready. I would love to see him fight Corey Sandhagen right now, hand to God. I hope that fucking fight happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that Dana just goes, I need to get rid of Aljamain to fucking spice it up. Because Aljamain, the way his fight style is, it's going to be very hard to beat him in a 5-round fight with his fight style. Yeah. And he knows that. So, and then Merab's holding on back there, not just as good a fighter, if not better, who won't fight him. It's just so much of a logjam with Aljamain there. He's beat Jan twice now.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's gonna be hard to justify a third Jan fight even.
Yeah. So, and then O'Malley, for as amazing as he looked, just isn't ready for the funk like that, dude. He's just not ready for it, dude.
So let's officially transition to the showcase fight. Sugar Sean O'Malley takes on a big step up in competition in Peter No Mercy Yan. scheduled for 3 rounds, goes the distance, and Sugar Sean O'Malley does a lot better than any of us were giving him credit for. I thought the kid was going to get trucked. I thought this was like, oh, why are they punishing Sean O'Malley by putting him in this fight?
I mean, I think when it was made, it was like, whoa, respect. I think there was like different levels of surprise and reaction. Because at first it was like, fuck yeah, respect to him. Fuck yeah, we get to see Jan just kill somebody finally.
Yeah.
And then it went to like, whoa, you kind of look back and you're like, could he have a chance here? And then I think I landed on, and we were right on, I think, of O'Malley's not going to look as bad as we think a lot of people are saying he is. He definitely has a chance to not look terrible. But at the same time, Jan is he's a champion. He's a walking champion, 1A, 1B champion. So, we're probably going to see no lose situation. And I think that's pretty much everybody's kind of take into it, going into it. I mean, a lot of people that were very analytical about it when they saw, the reach, as good as he was. And then everybody was right. We were all right. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all right. It just, the judges fucked everybody over.
I think there's a lot of different angles to it. I mean, because there was a time before Peter Yan lost the title to Sterling, where a lot of people were talking about Peter Yan as number 2, number 1, possibly number 1 pound for pound. Like, he was held in very, very high regard. And Sean O'Malley, we could say what we want about his shtick or his personality, whether or not it appeals to us or if it's kind of a Zoomer thing. He's been looking good too. Like, I don't dislike Sean O'Malley's style. He's clearly a competent fighter.
Championship, championship ready, top 4, top 5 in that division for sure, easily.
I thought we were just waiting to see the right performance for him to break into the top 10. Didn't think this was going to be the fight that he needed to make that happen. And like I said, I was kind of expecting him to potentially get trucked, and it wasn't an issue of like, oh, what are you thinking, Sean O'Malley? Because like you said, it was more of, well, props. I'm surprised he took that fight, given how long he was blowing on the horn, talking about, I want to fight all unranked guys. So to see him take up accept this fight with Peter Yan was impressive. But I thought, like, okay, what is the UFC doing with you though? But I mean, I guess this is a good sink or swim test with Peter Yan. I thought the height was an issue. I thought Peter Yan potentially underestimated him a bit and was fighting a bit wild. He didn't even really take his first round off like we were kind of talking about, like he likes to do. He was busy from the get-go. And I got to ask, because obviously there was judging, there was a whole judging debacle here. How did you actually score the fight?
So with this fight, I was watching it on mute. We were waiting for our like lunch reservation to go through. So I'm there with my family on the phone watching it on mute. And I watched it with my mom on my phone, of all people. She was there, and we're just joking. And then it was like, the mood was light. It was like everyone's kind of like, oh yeah. Mom was like, oh, can I watch it with you? So we're watching it, and we're just watching it on mute with someone who doesn't like fighting, who doesn't care, and then she for all intents and purposes thought, well, why did the little guy lose? Like, what the fuck? Like, she thought for sure that and then it was funny because like, it was one of those things where she doesn't give a fuck, and she's just chilling with her son, trying to blow some time until fucking we get to to our table, and then I go, oh, he lost, and she's like, he did? What the fuck? And I as like a thought experiment, I was like, who do you like? If I had to ask you and you watched, because she watched all 3 rounds with me, the full fight, we're waiting because it started literally when we're just sitting there waiting for the table, we're watching it. She completely green, not even a casual, someone who doesn't give a fuck, will never watch another fight unless I ask her to, thought Peter Yan won by like all it was pretty simple. I thought he won. I go back and watch it again, I thought he won, I think almost everybody who went back and watched it, the Weasel, I
I
absolutely
watched his
waited with bated breath for the Weasel's
for that round
breakdown.
one breakdown. Yeah.
The breakdown of all, yeah, exactly, where he put it in where, it's heavy shots, ring control, takedown. I mean, he fucking picked the dude up and fucking slammed him. I mean, it's what else does the guy have to fucking do, dude? Like, really, what else does he have to do? I mean, he has to kill the guy in the ring. Like, what do you really have to do to win? That's got to be the most frustrating. I don't know how Peter Yan just doesn't go fucking crazy and shoot up like everyone in Siberia, just upset and just go crazy on a killing spree. The run of fights that he's had.
I guess what it tells us is that a lot of UFC judges still don't really value leg kicks very much.
Body kicks. He landed one of
kicks.
the cleaner body kicks I had ever. And again, all of this though, all of this that we're saying, as equally as it's like, damn, Jan's good. Fuck, O'Malley took that shit like
Yeah.
a fucking champ. He was concussed as fuck. Did you see his? I went back and watched the post fight, and he's just like his eyes are just. He's just not there, dude.
Good
He
point.
was rocked. He was,
And
like,
he's a guy promotionally. He's a guy who will not hold back from being like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I won that fight," and just getting under
Yeah,
everybody's
he
skin.
even said straight up, "I'm gonna have to watch it again." I don't, So that was the big, that was the big thing for me to where I knew even that motherfucker who, when I mean that's how crazy it is because when Bruce Buffer is doing his announcement and he's announcing O'Malley and he's going over the record 1-1, O'Malley goes 0-0. He does that with his hands. I don't know if you've ever seen that when Bruce Buffer, since he's had the loss and since he's had, and then I guess now with the Munoz, it's like a no contest, right?
Yeah.
So when Bruce Buffer goes 1-1, he holds up 0-0.
No. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, go back and look at the fucking replay when he does that.
Yeah.
He goes 0-0. So someone who's that fucking salty to do that when Bruce Buffer's to say like, I don't know, it was close, I'm gonna have to watch it again, is fucking, his fucking bell is rung as fuck, his body's fucking hurting, and he got thrown all around the fucking ring.
A bit ago, before we went live, he posted Sean O'Malley.
Right.
He posted to his IG. It was making me laugh. It's like a selfie from an unflattering angle. It looks like he might be on an airplane, like on the flight home.
Yeah.
And he put back home. Been a long couple weeks. Sorry, I won the fight. I know a lot of you aren't happy. Speaking of happy, happy birthday to me.
Yeah.
And yes, happy birthday to you, Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Hopefully his wife's boyfriend got him a nice cake.
Props to Sean O'Malley though, because
he's going to fight for a championship very soon, and he deserves it.
The UFC put him as number 1 ranked now, under Aljamain Sterling. So that's what also leads me to believe that they're just going to go ahead and move forward and say, well, you know what, we put ourselves in this position. We already talked about it being a title eliminator. Let's just get Sugar Sean O'Malley in there and do it. Because, yeah, like you said, while Sterling is up there, he doesn't have a shot. It would be a lot. The UFC would definitely have preferred it if it was Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan. So, and that might have been what pissed off Dana so much more too, because even though it was a bit of a robbery, and credit because it was a close fight, but still, pretty much every media, like MMA media, like who submits votes onto MMA decisions, had it for Peter Yan.
The Weasel is up there for me, where it's like, okay, tell me what to think, and then the verdict. I always check because of you more so, and then just because you put me on to verdict, but I always, because they're it's very concise and very easy to read. Their infographic.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
It kind of always goes along because some of these guys, where if it's like Dean Thomas or some of these guys where it's just this long-winded roundabout way of saying who they thought won. I enjoy a good infographic, like when the Weasel does it where he stopped. That was a heavy strike. That was a significant strike. This is what the judges might have thought.
Right.
This is what the judges might have seen. Whatever. A good infographic will always tell you, because then it's like there's lies, there's damn lies. What is it? Lies, damn lies, and the truth, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on, guys. Like, you can't. They saw it in real time, so like, I just don't know what to. Was it the cut? I mean, what was it? Well,
might have been the cut. I mean, that he was really wearing the damage, and Sean O'Malley looked relatively fine compared to Peter Yan after the cut, so that could have been a factor. But I think that the reason why the Weasel did a recap of round one, because that's what it really came down to.
Right.
I mean, it could be
a lot of Peter Yan fights come down to round one.
Yeah, because he's such a slow starter in round one. So it's like, we could look at the cut, but at the same time, everybody gave O'Malley that round, or most people gave
5 rounds. So. He fucking kills O'Malley in that, like, because the way O'Malley was talking in that interview, he was rocked. He was like rocked. He was slurring. He always has some like funny fucking catchphrase, some fucking rap lyric, some shit he wants to that he wrote on the way in, or he's been wanting to say for weeks, and he kind of like trips all over it, and he's ready to say I love you, Joe Rogan, and all this other shit, and he just had nothing, and you could tell he was swimming, like his eyes were swimming in his head. So if he has to go to a fourth, that would have been a rough fucking, but I mean, he didn't, so
it would have been some good 5-round experience for O'Malley. Has he fought 5 rounds yet? Was that Chris Moutinho fight a 5-round fight?
No, that was on a UFC. That was on a high level UFC.
Yeah, you're right. It was on the Poirier versus McGregor 3 card. Yeah, that was
about as high level as it gets right there, as far as like a fucking pay-per-view anyway.
As far as keeping Sean O'Malley out of the main event, yeah.
Right, yeah, if you're not going to get a main event on that one.
Yeah, he could use some 5-round experience going into this potential fight with Aljamain Sterling, because he has
Aljamain Sterling will fucking murder him.
Yeah,
will murder him.
Round 1, and this is taking into account our new founder.
Worse was 5 rounds of wearing Aljamain Sterling around the ring.
I don't.
He's not being able to get away from him.
He would definitely backpack him, but I don't see any reason he doesn't RNC him and get him out of there in one. It would be a long night for Mr. Sean O'Malley. That is for sure.
Dang, because I had every intent of just coming on here and ball washing Sean O'Malley, because he looked great. Mm-hmm. He really did. He really did. I saw him. He checked some kicks. Mm-hmm. Which is tough to do. He took a lot of kicks. He took a fucking baseball bat to the ribs. Mm-hmm. I saw that clear as day. He took some fucking strong ass fucking hits.
Yeah.
He fucking there was one,
and he gave plenty of his own too.
And he gave a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we both referenced the Weasel breakdown of round 1, and how he breaks it down into light, medium, heavy strikes and stuff. And Yan did outstrike him by like 2 strikes, but he outstruck Yan to the head. He landed more shots to Yan's head than Yan landed back, and Yan may have hit him more to the legs and to the body. But I mean,
he popped Yan's mouth open with a couple of jabs too. Yeah. I mean, it's fucking sick. Yeah, I mean,
he had Yan hurt. He had Yan hurt in the 2nd round, and then Yan came back like a little berserker and dropped him, and then turned it way around.
He's a psychopath. But I mean, come on, wow, dude, great. Mm-hmm. Fucking Sean O'Malley is a great fighter. He's not a good fighter. He's a great fighter, and I would not be surprised if he's champ within the next 3 years. It would not be like, oh, okay. I think Aljamain's going to kind of roll for a little bit. I just think because he's not going to have to fight Merab, so it's going to be a little bit easier than it would be for other guys who would have to go through Merab for it. But I think Aljamain's got another year or 2. I think Aljamain gets another 3 or 4 defenses.
Interesting. With some creative matchmaking, I can see it, because it's really just Sterling and Merab that you really got to keep Sean O'Malley away from.
We've seen it. We saw it. Islam do it. We've seen Habib do it.
Yeah.
You can wrestle like that. You can control a man in the cage, and you can make him wear your fucking weight. And then you can just be freakishly strong.
Yeah.
And not only that, so what Islam and Habib do, what Makhachev does, what, I don't know, you see the Moldovan guys do it.
Yeah.
Those guys do that shit, and it's fucking hard as fuck to get that off of you. What Merab does, Merab's a little bit different with his just pace, but when you add a level of just freak athleticism and just pure like just strength, like gym strength and genetic strength, that's special. And then with that, that's a very very hard thing to beat in a 5-round fight. And then his gas tank is just better and better and better.
Yeah,
it's just very hard. Whereas if it's like you see like Israel Adesanya in almost every fight, we're like, could it be the one? Because he's gonna stand there. He has to stand there, like he has to. Whereas Aljamain it's like he's going to take you down. He's going to hold you, and you're gonna have to get up to beat him.
So outside of those two guys, I mean, let's look at this bantamweight division. I mean, Peter Yan, we saw how that went with Sean O'Malley. And I'm talking about Sean here in terms of like getting him to the title, which shouldn't be hard now because he's number 1 ranked as far as the UFC's rankings. Over on Tapology, they still put him at number 3 under Peter Yan because they're clearly acknowledging that he should have lost that decision. Yeah. So they're still putting Peter Yan above him. But Peter Yan is a competitive fight for Sean O'Malley. Chito Vera, who's just under Sean O'Malley, a competitive fight for Sean, a one that I'm sure he's more than willing to run back. Merab, you got to keep him away from Merab. TJ Dillashaw, competitive fight for Sean O'Malley. I don't see why not. Corey Sandhagen, the fight you said you wanted to see.
We need to see.
That would be a great fight. Another one that I don't see why he can't be competitive in. Rob Font, a competitive fight for Sean. Dominic Cruz, number 9, competitive fight for Sean. Song Yadong, that's a tough one for Sean, but it's the kind of fight he wants. It's not a guy who's going to try and put him on his back and backpack him. So yeah, suddenly this whole bantamweight, all it took is for him to pass the right test. Ironically, he technically didn't pass it. A lot of people thought he failed it, but he looked good enough that now we are looking at him in this bantamweight landscape as a guy who's potentially going to be a mainstay or a fixture in the top 10 of that division, which is great. I'm excited about it.
If the decision goes the other way, I would say right here, he aced that test.
Yes. Yeah, I was ready to give him, I mean, and we are giving him a lot of credit, but yeah, I think it was one of those deals where neither guy was going to end up as the loser in that fight, because it's just a tough thing, though. I think this happens with a lot of MMA fans, and I swear to God, it happens with the judges too, is when you're looking at a guy who is a heavy underdog and they perform better than expected, suddenly people look at that and say, oh, they're winning. Whereas like, no, like point. You got to
that's a great point, dude.
You got to give guys room to just have a good performance.
It should just be two guys that you don't know who they are. It should just be outline silhouettes of people. And you're just looking at limbs and head and knees and legs. It shouldn't be like
just a couple noob cybots in the cage.
Yeah, that's all it should be, dude. It really shouldn't be any more than that.
Let's move on to this Beneil Dariush Mateusz Gamrot fight, which is the fight I was expecting, but not the outcome I was expecting. I picked Mateusz Gamrot here, and Beneil Dariush definitely impressed and defended most of Gamrot's takedowns, which was the biggest surprise to me, because I thought that in the battle of the grappling in this fight, that Gamrot would get the better of the wrestling and was going to be able to take Beneil down almost at will. I thought if Mateusz Gamrot wants to get it down, this fight's going to play out on the ground. And then there is where Dariush would show him his jiu-jitsu techniques and kind of stalemate him a bit and kind of show him that, like, this is not where you want to be with me. And that didn't happen because Dariush was able to defend off most of those takedowns and made Gamrot's like relentless offensive wrestling kind of look more human in this fight. So big props to Dariush for that, because I was really high on Gamrot's wrestling. I thought it was underrated going into this, and we all saw this Haryukian fight, so I don't need to Paul wash him on his wrestlings too much. But they go to the distance, all 3 rounds, 15 minutes, and Beneil Dariush gets the decision. No controversy here. It was a close fight. It was a fun fight, but it was Beneil Dariush's fight, and it's a really, really impressive, underrated win that not enough people are going to appreciate for him, and he's going to get punished for beating this killer.
Yeah, for all the reasons we thought he was going to lose, it makes it that much. And my main reasoning was, I think if it would have been a healthier Beneil coming, I would have thought, wow, he has way more. And I don't know if I would have picked him, but I for sure would have given him a lot more respect going into it, which I didn't, which is fucked up on my end. Mm-hmm. Because to come off of a leg injury like that, to fight the guy that he fought, it's mental fortitude. Because he hadn't fought in over a year, right? I think we said it was like April or May he had fought. 2021. That's a long time.
He last fought in February. Oh no, excuse me. That was a grappling match. Oh, that was canceled rather. That was supposed to be when he was going to fight Islam. Yeah, May of 2021 against Ferguson.
Yeah. So, come on, man. And is he now the new Tony Ferguson?
Yes. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, did he become that new guy who was just proving that he's there without a shadow of a doubt, but will just consistently get screwed over by the promotion
and just batshit crazy, and then won't even know he's getting promoted or getting screwed over by the promotion until later? Or remember we said like Tony became self-aware and he's like, "Oh, you were laughing at me the whole time."
Here's the thing, like, I can praise Beneil Dariush for his in-cage performance, especially for the guy he beat, who I was very, very high on.
Yeah.
Some of this neglect that he gets from the promotion is his own fault, though. I will totally say
just
that.
The shit he says.
He just never capitalizes on any opportunity to promote himself. And I'm not saying, like he should be posting ridiculous shit, but when it comes to his post-fight interview, they ask him, like, for one, don't just ignore those questions that DC is teeing you up for, and say like, no, you know what? Yeah. I'm going to ignore what you said and take this moment to talk about God and give all glory to God. I was like, dude, don't nobody want to hear that. We all show up. We all showed up to watch violence, and then
but
to follow it up by saying, "I'll fight 10 more guys if I have to." Dude, you are just inviting them to screw you over. You need to make it known.
But then the thing is too, though, and I think for me, it's like, how much if he doesn't do that, if he's like plotting and he's like making, he's like taking the opportunity, because maybe he's just not that guy, and if he tries to be that guy, then he's too much in his own head, and he can't go beat a Gamrot. He can't go beat these guys the way that he does, because he has to be like that. Because you just can't change a person, and especially mentally, which is, I think he wins a lot because he's just his mind. Whether we think he's crazy or whether he's a little bit off here or there, okay, but he wins in his fucking mind. He is the champion. He's the uncrowned champion. He's going to show it. Like, the fact that he took this fight tells you in his mind he thinks he's the best fighter on the planet, and it just hasn't happened yet. To where if he starts trying to like politic things, he's thinking, well, if I have to politic to get to the, whether you like it or not, whether it's the right move or not, him trying to politic probably makes him think, well, if I have to do sneaky backhanded shit to get the fight I want, then I'm just not good enough then. But if I just beat the shit out of a Gamrot, if I beat the shit out of a Saryuki, if I beat the shit out of these guys, I'm undeniable. I'm undeniably good. But the UFC, that's like, have you ever dated someone and...
Never.
No, have you ever dated someone and then it's just the sweetest person, they're just doing all the right things, but you just kind of know they're just not that person, and but you're just like you're not going to tell them it's like that, and you're just like, and then you kind of just, and then it finally ends or whatever, and you kind of feel shitty for what you did to them, or kind of that you let it go long enough because you knew it wasn't that person. But that person, it doesn't change that person wasn't sweet and good. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense to you? Or you just that the UFC's the fucking predatory boyfriend that's like, yeah, sure, babe, go ahead. I'll take $250. Yeah, another pair of Jordans. Hey, thanks.
I can see what you're throwing down, but ultimately, in this post fight scrum, and I don't know if you saw it, but he was up at that podium or at the table and making the same complaints. And no, he was saying like, well, I mean, what else do I have to do if I beat this guy and I'm still not given the title shot? He was asking, and if you're going to put it in the form of a question, Bainil, we're going to give you the answer, and that is to call your shot. You don't have to get underhand, like you said, underhanded and sneaky. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. He doesn't have to try and turn himself into Conor McGregor or Sugar Sean O'Malley or Colby Covington and be controversial or anything like that. But when Daniel Cormier is standing with you in the cage after you beat like one of the hottest prospects in the division who nobody was giving you a shot against, and asks you what you want next, you say, I want the winner of the main event tonight. I want the guy who's going to be holding the belt tonight because I fucking earned it.
You're right.
Don't waste your opportunity 100%. Thanking God and saying that you'll fight 10 more guys. And it's mostly just because he asked.
I'll suck everybody's dick in this fucking room. I don't even care. Like, just that kind of fucking crazy, dude. And that's how I see. He's just crazy, dude.
He is a little. He's a little out there.
A little off.
And I don't want to excuse the promotion for fucking him over because they just are.
That's what they're doing.
He's never going to be any kind of a star if you put no. It's almost like if you just don't fit any of the very, very few cookie cutter like molds they have of what makes someone a star in the UFC, or what they think makes someone a star, which, let's face it, it is being I could give one right now. It's being a generic white conservative stand-up male fighter. There's one of them for sure. Oh, and willing to say ridiculous shit too. That'll work for a lot of guys. But even if you don't fit one of those molds, I feel like there's a place for a Beneil Dariush. I think they just need to figure it out, and it takes a little bit of effort. It's probably easier said than done, but they're not putting in any attempt to try and make him viable. And here's the thing, though. If he's going to keep beating contenders in your lightweight division, you're obligated to put in a little bit of effort, because now how do you explain the guy who beat Mateusz Gamrot? If you're going to put, in the future down the line, want to try and rebuild Mateusz Gamrot, which they're going to, that guy's going to get right back to work. And you have this loss, this Beneil Dariush guy who the UFC is just pretending doesn't exist. Well, that makes those losses look worse. Like, for the sake of the guys he's going to beat, you owe it to yourselves to try and at least promote Beneil Dariush a little bit.
Damn, dude, you're on fire, dude. You're fucking. Would you just shut the fuck up and listen to yourself? Because you're so fucking right, dude. It's. I can't say I cannot disagree with you. I was trying to take the tact of like, well, that's just who he is. If you try and change him now, you might not get the same result. Like, and then I think the drastic fall we saw from Tony was he started, like, some weird shit happened around him, and he lost his mental edge. And some guys need that mental edge. Like when Tiger Woods got caught cheating and shit, he was just a different guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because he just didn't have that in the back of his head. Where I think Beneil wants it. However he's wired, it has to be on merit. I deserve this shit on merit. I'll throw him out here. I'll beat the fuck out of him. What do I have to do? Yeah. Like I earned it. I do it. It's black and white. You can't tell me I did it. Whereas he's not aware enough to realize that the UFC will just use that. You're going to be a showcase fight on this pay-per-view. Yeah. You're going to headline this fucking when they need you. You're going to be their guy for 4 or 5 years. And you turn around, one unfortunate injury, and it's Khabib Tony. Yeah. All over again. Yeah. You know?
To your credit though, I can totally get what you're saying about, like, if a guy changes his promotional style, it gets him out of his own headspace a little too much. Because I can totally see, if I were a fighter, I can totally see that kind of happening to me, where it's like, I'm sure Beneil Dariush also knows the things that he can do that will,
if
like,
the world was
give him some cheap popularity.
If the world was a just place, he would be fighting for the championship. If that's how the world was, the way the world should be.
But my point,
that's not how it works, though.
My point was going to be, though, like, I'm sure Beneil knows that, like, oh, I could just be this, like, this troll or whatever who's going to get some cheap heat and suddenly get some attention. But it would be like, yeah, I could do that, even if you wanted to go completely off the rails and start saying, like, Sean Strickland style things to start getting attention. When you start to get the reaction, if you're not a person who can deal with that, if you don't have the thick enough skin, then I could totally see how, like, the response to your promotion can, like, get in your own head and take you out of your game. And I could totally see that.
But there's two sides to that coin, because you can be the Sean Strickland, talk shit, and then you get knocked the fuck out. And then the next thing you know, you're on Food Truck Diaries with Brendan Schaub holding a fucking Starbucks, saying that Americans are fucking sloppy because they drink too much Starbucks, and there's no American champions because they're getting knocked out by foreign guys. And it's like, hey, guy, what are you doing? Where are you at right now? He's like, oh, everyone's just fat. You're eating on the food truck. Everyone drinks too much Starbucks. You're holding a Starbucks. Americans just can't beat the foreign guy. Hey, strike three. You know what I mean? So then you end up being that guy. You end up being Kobe Covington. Get your fucking tooth broke at a fucking steakhouse. You look like a fucking idiot. So as high as that can take you, it can take you. Look at Conor McGregor, social media influencer now. So I think Beneil probably in his heart is like, I cannot be that guy. Because if Beneil gets knocked out in his next fight, he can always say, like, hey, man, I fucking gave it my all. And it's not going to be as bad as a fucking Sean Strickland. Because now Sean Strickland's forever face down, ass up to a left hook. Forever.
Yeah.
Kobe Covington chipped his fucking tooth, got slapped up by fucking Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what it is. And that's what everybody wants to see.
And we saw it happen with Rousey to a really, really huge bad result, where it's like, oh, she obviously knew or realized these promotional tools that she had, but wasn't prepared for it to not work out.
That promotional type shit, that candle burns at both ends.
Yeah.
It burns at both ends. And maybe Beneil just doesn't want either doesn't want to handle it, or has seen how that kind of goes, because it goes one or two ways. And 99.9% of the time, you know, like Israel Adesanya does that, where he just talks the shit he does, but he fucking wins. But people want to see him lose, including me, because of the shit that he talks. And when he does, all the amazing fucking shit that he did, one of the greatest strikers ever, is going to be erased because he lost. You fucking lost. I fucking knew it. And so maybe he just doesn't want that. Maybe he just doesn't want that. Or maybe he's just anxious about having to deal with that if he goes outside of himself and starts the shit talk But he does shit talk, but it's just not the Sean Strickland type of shit talking, you know. Bilal Muhammad got a finish.
114.50. Not before we talk about Manon Fiorot versus Kaylin Chookagian. Did you really think I was going to let you skip over Manon Fiorot?
I was hoping you would. I seriously was. I was looking at the time just like you were, and I was like, do I get off without? That would be Abu Dhabi style to not talk about. Let's just do it. Let's just do it Abu Dhabi.
It would be real Abu Dhabi
style to not talk about.
In spirit, we won't spend too much time on it because there wasn't a whole lot.
Well, let's spend a little time on. I have to fucking shave my beard. I have to fucking.
We never publicly announced it, so after
I'm announcing it. I mean, I'm not a pussy.
No, of course not. I don't think you are at all. So between our previous episode and this one, I proposed a bet to Brandon for the main event of this card. A predatory bet that should Makhachev...
You locked me into a decision. Because if I would have known, like, which one do I have to do, who would you take? It probably wouldn't have swayed how I would have, or what my pick, but I definitely would have caused for pause, I guess.
Oh, like if I had proposed that before we made our predictions in the previous episode, I get what you're saying.
Like influenced it.
Yeah. So the bet was that if Oliveira beats Makhachev, then I would have to bleach my hair blonde.
The coolest
as homage to the shoot to box fucking dynamo that is Charles Oliveira, and that if Islam Makhachev won, that Brandon would have to shave his stash and give himself the Dagestani chin strap beard and rock the Khabib, I don't know what it's called, the headwear that looks like a blonde fro.
But see, Islam doesn't wear that though.
He doesn't. But there's a ton of guys I guess there was a ton of guys around Abu Dhabi with bleached hair too. Sure. I mean, I would have been fine with just the Dagestani beard.
You would have looked hella cool with a fucking bleach blonde hair, dude. Come on.
I wouldn't have done the sides. I definitely would have just done like the top.
Yeah. You would have looked like Artie Lang in Dirty Work.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Not Dirty Work. What's the one with him and Chris Farley died. It was supposed to be like the third Black Sheep. Not Black Sheep. God damn it. The one where David Spade is like stalking that chick, and then Artie's like his friend from the restaurant that comes and helps him or something. And then Artie is like, he wants to be David Spade's friend so bad that he does all this like cringe stuff. So he bleaches his hair blonde. And like, he's like, what did you? And then so he's like, they're going through like dog shit to find a ring. And then Artie's like going through dog shit in a fucking bathtub. And then he turns and his hair is bleached.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I'm looking up Artie Lang blonde right now to see if it'll like bring up the movie that you're talking about, but a lot of it is post like losing his nose pictures.
Oh yeah, no, I don't.
It's the bad stuff.
You had a nice, not quite Ariel Helwani, but you're doing pretty good for yourself in that department.
Yeah, all these are way too current for it to be what you're referencing. But yeah, sorry, I haven't seen it. But anyways, going back to our bet, we didn't publicly announce it before the card, so I don't really see any point in doing it now. And it's not to say that either of us chickened out of the bet or anything, but you found the movie.
Can you see? It's Lost and Found. He's like did his hair to look like David Spade.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I'm picking up on that.
Well, I mean, give me the hat. I'll wear the hat. I'll shave the fucking.
No, just shave the stash next time. That's enough. I was jealous at how much easier yours was going to be able to pull off. I would actually have to go to a salon.
I would have loved to bleach my hair blonde.
I mean, I wouldn't have had that much of a problem with having my hair bleached blonde. I wouldn't be like, oh no, I gotta cover it so people don't see or anything. I wouldn't give a fuck. God. It's just the fact that I would actually have to go to a professional and have them do it for me and sit in a salon and get it done and all of that and spending money on it. Whereas you just fucking get the trimmers going and shave your shit off.
Yeah. Well, like, see, like, okay, so this is, we'll talk about it off screen, but I'm down. Give me the hat. I'll do it. I'll shave the fucking stash, whatever.
I don't have the hat. I don't have the hat. You'd have to order the hat from Amazon.
I have to order the hat from Amazon?
Well, were you going to pay to have my hair bleached if you
I would have done it myself. I would have went to Rite Aid and got a box and I got the gloves. You could have sat in my sink.
With the layers of foil and the brush and shit.
Yeah, I've done that before.
You have?
Yeah, like for football or like every summer, every guy, like certain guys on the football team, we would all just bleach our hair just to fuck. It was like a weird thing. And then when I played like baseball, like all-star team baseball, we would all bleach our hair so that it looked like we're all the same or whatever. And we used to just go to one dude's house. We'd go shoplift a bag full of fucking bleach. And then we would have one guy's sister bleach everybody's hair.
I like how you have to, you try to explain it. Like, it was just a thing that we did. Like, we didn't see Charles Oliveira's entire crew do that just because that's just their thing.
No, it's like a team building thing. It's something that like it like teams. I got a lot of college baseball teams used to do that all the time too. When they would go to like Omaha for the like World Series, they would dye their hair, and it's like, well, we're all the same.
It does. It's definitely going beyond just wearing matching shirts and shit like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm not hating on it at all. Let's talk about this Manon Fiorot Caitlin Chookagian fight, though. Manon Fiorot, Caitlin Chookagian go the distance. Big surprise there, right? No, none at all. I think the only surprise is that Caitlin Chookagian didn't win a decision because she's very, very well known for winning by decision. A lot of people have the joke that it's death taxes and Caitlin Chookagian by decision. I think it's impressive. It was not entertaining. I'm not going to sit here and try and spin this tale that this was an entertaining flyweight fight, because it really wasn't. I was expecting more from it. And even though she won, I kind of felt like Manon Fiorot kind of underperformed a bit. She was having issues with the movement of Caitlin Chookagian, and Caitlin just wasn't there, and wasn't planting her feet, and wasn't just standing in front of Manon Fiorot waiting to get unloaded on. And to give some credit, though, like if Caitlin Chookagian was going to have success in this fight, this is exactly how it was going to look, though. I mean, I expected Manon Fiorot to come out and put on a statement of a fight, or at the very least do more or do something to put you ahead of Alexa Grasso in the conversation of who should be next for Valentina Shevchenko. Because
Tyler Santos should be next.
Right now, it's certainly Tyler Santos, and I think Tyler Santos knows it too, because she's been calling for it now. And she waited for exactly the right time to call for it, because it just wasn't the kind of, on paper it was, because to get a decision win over Caitlin Chookagian is very impressive for this division. But as far as like what the casual fan is seeing at home on their TV screen, Manon Fiorot didn't put in the kind of performance that inspires a lot of faith that she's going to be a worthy contender for Valentina Shevchenko. And I think she could still give Valentina Shevchenko a perfectly fine fight. I'm not picking her to win. Even if she had been more impressive in this fight, I still wasn't going to be like, yeah, Manon Fiorot's ready. I don't mind if she doesn't get the next shot. I think that putting her up against Alexa Grasso, or giving either of those girls another fight before they send her in there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just let Grasso and Fiorot fight.
Yeah.
And then throw Tyler Santos and Shevchenko in there, and another big card that comes up where they're the like showcase fight. Maybe not the co-main, but there you go.
Yeah, and it was a close fight too. It wasn't.
It
was a unanimous decision, but it was the kind of unanimous decision that would, if you just see that it was a unanimous decision, you might think that it was well in favor of Manon Fiorot. And I was watching the fight with my brother-in-law and my nephew, and my brother-in-law, who's been watching MMA longer than me, he thought that Caitlin Chookagian won that fight. I think he might have been biased, because going into this fight, I don't think he even knew who Manon Fiorot was.
Right.
So there might be some name brand, going there, like, oh, he recognizes Caitlin Chookagian. So, but either way, not the greatest opening to the main card, and not really giving us a whole lot to chew on in terms of like the forecasting this flyweight division. But anyways, we can put a bow on that one. I just wanted to touch on it. There was a lot of key-eyeing in that fight too. Very loud fight.
That was like watching women's tennis or whatever the fuck.
All right, now to the fight you really wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Belal Muhammad, we remembered the name, gets the standing TKO finish over Sean Brady. This was a big statement for Belal Muhammad in this fight, in this division. Sean Brady was coming into this fight undefeated at 15-0, and now he lost that 0, and Belal Muhammad climbs to 22-3. A lot of people have been really counting Belal Muhammad out on this run, and I'm proud to say that I'm one of the very few who wasn't, even though he has me blocked on Instagram, that son of a bitch. But I've been predicting, and some other people have been saying this. I've heard some people quote some numbers where they're basically saying that if you've been betting on Bilal Muhammad for like his last 4 fights, you've been making a lot of money. You've been doing pretty well for yourself. I haven't been. I'm not a betting man, really. But Demian Maia, Stephen Thompson, Vicente Luque, Sean Brady, about as good of a 4-fight win streak as you can put together in the welterweight division against guys who are willing to actually fight. And still, do you think with this performance, do you think Bilal Muhammad is starting to be over with the fans? How much do you think that this win does for him?
No, he's not over with the fans. And it's such a weird thing. Even in his like what was what was perceived as a home field advantage, even being in Khabib's corner, then you just hear the guy talk and you're like, what? Well,
hey, bud, you're from Chicago.
Yeah, and it's like, pick a lane. Like, which one are you? You know, because he does pick the Chicago lane when it suits him, and then he does pick the like, oh no, I'm a Middle Eastern man and I'm Islamic, and this is, you know, I'm part of this brotherhood and we pray every day. And then the next time, like, fuck the Eagles. Like, that's such a weird thing where he was like, I pray 5 times a day with Khabib and his team, and the camaraderie of that, and having a higher purpose than just fighting. And you know what? One thing that while I pray, I just really pray that the fucking Eagles lose. Fuck the Eagles. And you're just like, whoa, dude, take it easy.
That might not be too far outside of stuff that he actually has to do in his daily life, though.
No, it's
depending
not.
on what his household
such a
looks
juxtaposition.
Like. It's very jarring. Yeah, it can be.
And then to be in Abu Dhabi with gentlemen that, you know, look a lot like him, and then he just has that Chicago, that accent that he has, that the way he speaks, the cadence in his, you know, he's about as Americanized as anybody. He's Midwestern. He's a Midwestern dude, you know. And then Benil Dariush too, you know, because Bilal Muhammad and Benil Dariush, those are some names on an Abu Dhabi card where you'd think they'd be like, you know, they'd go all out. And then Benil is just like talking about God and Jesus Christ, and everyone's like, okay. And then you hear
I hadn't thought
Bilal
about that.
talk. Yeah, then you hear Bilal talk, and then he's like, Iran, all my people in Iran, and then everyone's like looking around like, oh. Yeah, you gonna get this out of the cage? Or like, what are we doing? But it was just such a weird juxtaposition for me. But I just don't. I don't know. I like him. I mean, we both said we like it. The way he fights. He finally got a finish. He finished a guy who was very good. Sean Brady's a very good fighter. Did you, after seeing it the second time, I was justified. But did you think in the moment that was kind of an early stoppage?
I thought it could be perceived as an early stoppage for sure. Yeah. Like
in the moment, I was like, "Hey, let him fight it out." Watching it again, knowing it was coming, so I was like looking for the signs of maybe what the judge, or not the judge, but the ref was seeing. Okay, I was like, okay, like I could, it could have gone either way, but
if the referee had let it,
in such a huge event, you kind of let that thing kind of
a little bit
go on.
If the referee had let it go on a bit further, I don't think I would have been complaining that it wasn't a late stoppage. So yeah, I mean, I think there's some room there, but I didn't,
because he wasn't on the ground laying down, head back, getting punched, and like kind of maybe half-heartedly putting his hand out. He was shelled up against the cage.
He did look very, very flustered because he was in full on. He was fleeing for a good while at the end, and then also kind of like giving up on. He was doing that thing that Tito Ortiz used to do when he would start to shell up, and where he would literally just put his own hands over his eyes. And I know the people that are just listening can't see
that,
but yeah, he would cover up, and he would be basically blocking his own vision. And Sean Brady, it didn't look good. It did look like he was going to be. He very likely could have been someone who was too tough for their own good. Because looking at the time, that was stopped at 4:47. So I could totally believe that Sean Brady could have survived another 13 seconds.
And that was the thing too. It was like that. The ref kind of know, like, hey man, you know. I guess it's fair either way. You know,
I don't really blame the. Sorry to step on your point.
No, go ahead.
I don't blame referees for not being aware of how much time is left. Unless they hear that 10 count, like the click,
and how weird was that stop horn?
Yes, the stop horn was so bad.
And I was like, what the fuck?
I freaking forgot about that, dude. Yeah.
That was the weirdest horn. And then like it just got worse at the end. Like it's like, dude, you guys, like, you built an oasis out of in the middle of nowhere, and you couldn't just, like, that place is like a engineering marvel,
right? Who busted out the fucking vuvuzela for the stop horn, dude?
Like literally a dude, it's like he was summoning a fucking viper out of a fucking basket, and it just sounded so weird. Didn't it sound weird?
It was a very off-putting sound. It sounded,
and it was stronger. Like I felt like in the Makhachev fight, it was like wah, like very like stop. And then in the Charles fight, it's like, it was like very weird every time.
The first time I heard it, I thought somebody had just like somehow managed to botch the horn sound.
Yeah, to fuck with it. Like he was off by a couple seconds, and like he didn't press all the way down or something.
That, or like he ran out of breath or something like that. Like assuming it's an actual horn.
I thought it was like an air horn.
No, I'm sure it's an air horn, but I thought like, okay, this is just where my mind was going. That whatever instrument was producing that sound, somebody had just like fucked it up. Somebody had messed it up, and then I heard it again, and I was like, "Oh no, this is some Abu Dhabi shit.
This is some wild ass shit, dude."
So
that must have been like, dude, sick ass fucking arena, badass fucking card, oil sheiks, fucking international movie stars everywhere. Hey, did you get the horn? What horn? The fucking horn, dude. He's like, oh fuck, like that thing that they just fucking forgot, where you just get everything is just badass, and then you forget the fucking horn.
So this is why Bilal's not over, isn't it? Because we're talking about the fucking horn.
The fucking horn. Yeah, that stopped the fucking fight, that he fucking beat a undefeated dude up against the fucking wall. No, good for him, man. And he looked good. His striking looked fucking clean. And that was the thing I think we talked about was, is the grappling prowess of both of these guys going to cancel out, and it's going to make it a fucking strike fest? And if so, does Bilal have enough power? Does he have enough to fucking win a fucking fucking kickboxing fight? And yes, he does. As a matter of fact, he does.
And he gave a lot of credit to Khabib for this one too. I actually wasn't aware that he had been training with Team Khabib leading up to this fight. Do you know if he had been training for Khabib for his previous fight, or was this the first time he was?
No, this is the first time.
See, I would probably know that if he didn't have me blocked on Instagram. But now I know, and I wanted to ask you, do you feel like, I'm seeing Bilal's performances, I'm assuming you've watched at least his last few fights.
No, yeah.
Do you feel like this is, it was noticeable, the impact that Khabib had on him? Or
no.
There's the same?
I did not hurt, but I think either way, I think it definitely was just added. I think it might have happened either way. I just, I think the Khabib coach train is really hyped as fuck right now. And for sure, it's deserving, but nah, I don't think so.
Usman Nurmagomedov is going to be challenging one of the Pitbull brothers for the Bellator lightweight title in roughly a month. So in about a month, Khabib could own 2 lightweight champions.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
That is impressive. What he's doing is impressive. And I mean, we've said it again a million times on here. We miss him. We love the way he fights. Just that arrogance for me. It's like, dude, you didn't revolutionize. You're not doing anything revolutionary here. You're an extremist. From a part of a world where you guys you get extreme about things and you get fanatical, and you'll do anything you can to enforce that on the world, your beliefs.
We're going in such a weird direction now. I don't have a problem with the Nurmagomedov confidence, because they've only backed it up.
And it's deserving.
Yeah, it's a brand of promoting yourself that I can get behind, because I would much rather have that than the Colby Covington style, like just hardcore trollish trash talking, the fucking nicknames that fighters are giving it. What did Aljamain call Marlon Vera? Like Marlon Cheetos Doritos Vera. Like, dude, what the fuck? Are we in third grade right now?
Yeah.
Like, I think that Khabib and Islam's style of just like, yes,
it's class.
We're gonna, yeah, like it might be. It can certainly be perceived as cocky and overconfident. It's all just more of a
like, hey, I know you're better than me, but come on, let's not,
you got to sell your opponent. Selling your opponent helps to promote a fight too. Like the audience shouldn't come into a fight just thinking one guy's going to get smashed. Like ideally, you want them to not really be able to predict or to not know who is going to win, but. It is what it is. But Belal, though, let's talk about Belal in this welterweight landscape. I have the rankings up in front of me. We know he's certainly not going to get Leon Edwards. He's
Gilbert Burns.
Gilbert Burns is right behind him, number 4 and 5. So thanks. You knew who I was going to ask for, or you knew what I was going to ask. He called out Khamzat Chimaev. We all know
there's just a ton of guys booked.
Yeah, we all know that they're right around in the top 5. There's no one booked, at least on Tapology. But we know, Edwards and Usman should be booked. They're 1 and 2. Yeah. They don't have the little red tag that they're booked against each other yet, but we know that they are. Gilbert, I think that if this fight with Masvidal was going to happen with Gilbert Burns, we'd know about it by now. But they're stonewalled there, so it looks like Masvidal gave him the duck. Masvidal versus Belal makes a lot of sense. I really can't. I want to keep scrolling and talk about more and elaborate on other stuff, but
Burns, Belal would kick the shit out of fucking Masvidal.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a guy who he should kind of, because I think it was dumb of him to try and call out Khamzat Chimaev in his post-fight interview, because they're not going to give it to him. And also, hey, if you're going to call out Khamzat, say his actual name. Yeah. Like, don't overassume anything about the fickle nature of MMA fans. Like, do not assume that they're going to know who you're talking about. Don't say the wolf is coming back. Don't say, oh, I'll fight you at 79.5 or 178.5 or whatever that is. Just say the man's name, because MMA fans are dumb. Very, very dumb. So
I'm basically an artist with a microphone that I got on Amazon. So I have to hear the name.
I would be very satisfied with any of the guys ranked behind him on Tapology for like 3 spots, because there's Gilbert Burns, there's our boy Shavkat, and then there's also Jeff Neal, and all of those are fucking
Jeff Neal fights. Beat the fuck out of Belal Muhammad.
Oh, he did. Yeah, 2019. I'm just looking at it right now.
It was like, the fuck are you doing in this ring with me, dude? Like, he beat the fuck out of Belal Muhammad. So he better hope.
Jeff Neal should be the one who's calling out Belal Muhammad hard right now.
He better hope that Shavkat wins.
They are booked.
He's the biggest Shavkat Rachmanov fan on the planet, is Belal Muhammad, because if Shavkat comes out and loses to Jeff Neal's like, what do you mean? I just beat this guy. Sparked the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
The fuck? What are we even talking about here? Wait your turn.
Good catch to remind me of that. I'm the one with the actual rankings open in front of me, and I didn't even remember that Shavkat.
Yeah, because because you're talking about Jeff Hands of Steel Neal here, bud. You know I'm gonna know.
That is going to be like, that's the fight we're going to make a real bet on, that we're going to announce to the public, because you are so on the Jeff Neal bandwagon.
Jeff, I have been, dude. I don't know what it is.
And I'm so on the Belal bandwagon. That is going to be.
I like Belal though. I know. Belal, though.
I like Jeff Neal too. But you're the Jeff Neal guy though. I didn't pick Jeff Neal in his last fight.
Say it right. You're saying it wrong, dude.
Jeff Hands of Steel Neal.
You keep saying it wrong, dude.
All right. Well, don't let me catch you mentioning Belal's name without remember the name.
That's like calling Dr. Pepper, like, give me a cold pepper. He worked for that doctor. It's like
Jeff Hands of Steel Neal Esquire.
Man, he's cool. I like Jeff Neal.
Stand-up guy. Yeah. Let's see. Let me take a peek at this fight card and see if there's anything else worth mentioning. Like we said, the only other finish on the prelims was Muhammad Makhachev over Malcolm Gordon. He had a beautiful round 3 armbar, and a really just nice like pop armbar off the bottom, which you don't see a lot nowadays anymore.
Yeah,
like, dudes aren't just getting that vanilla armbar where they're just like transitioning to it from guard.
It's advanced fundamentals.
Exactly, because Malcolm Gordon, which I didn't mention in our breakdown, but the dude's a black belt himself. But
yeah, very good.
Muhammad Makhachev, just the wrestling attack or pedigree that he's able to bring along with the grappling knowledge, which, I mean, who knows where Muhammad Makhachev would even fall if he was to be like considered for a color belt in jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like, where would you put them? I'd be very curious about that for a lot of these Dagestani guys who maybe don't have any credentials in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They would not give a fuck.
They don't see Brazilian jiu-jitsu as any type of fucking.
But I would love to see a Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert like break down all of the footage of them grappling and be like, that guy's purple belt, that guy's brown belt, that guy's a high level black belt. If I was going to belt them,
dad, like get Crone Gracie's dad to explain it to you.
We gotta do our own fight plug. Our first fight plug brand shirt would be Crone like Gracie's a big fan of Crone Gracie's dad.
Yeah,
that'd be such bait for hardcore MMA fans.
Yeah,
because it would all be exactly the same reaction that I had when you first said that.
Yeah, in the all white outfit he wore for like the first Pride, where it was like a white Speedo with like white knee braces and like white shoes. Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen. Well, I didn't see it when it happened, but I've seen the pictures of it.
Or just like are doing yoga in a waterfall. Crone Gracie's dad, and he's just like right there, fucking
the breathing techniques of his belly.
Yeah, the fucking belly roll.
I can feel it when he does it. When I see footage of him doing that, like I can feel like how uncomfortable that would make me.
Yeah.
So that was UFC 280. That was our recap of it. That was our disdain for some of what came with it. But there's more fun, high-level mixed martial arts on the horizon, and there is plenty of intriguing storylines coming out of this card also, because I mean, no matter what, we were both poo-pooing it, but the lightweight to featherweight, like cross divisional fight, super fight, champ fight, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of intrigue there, and I don't think we have seen that. Have we? Oh yeah, we have. Yeah, of course, Connor. But we have a potential to see it now where one guy at the very least has every intention of going back and forth, and that's if Volkanovski wins. He insists that he wants to be featherweight and lightweight champ.
What if Volk beats Islam? And then Max Holloway beats Charles? Like moves, and then it's like, what the fuck? So fucking Volk is the double champ, and then fucking Holloway beats Charles, and then it's just like, oh shit, here we go again.
Why would Holloway beat Charles though? Like, why would
I mean, one of the things we talked about was Holloway moving up. Like, what's he gonna do?
Oh,
he's not gonna move down.
I don't think Holloway beats Charles.
He's not gonna.
But I mean, it's hypothetical. I'm over here stepping on your hypothetical.
Yeah, no, it's hypothetical. Yeah, it was just a complete out of left field and would never happen joke. But like, if Holloway moves up and steps up, he's not gonna fight. I don't know. He's not gonna fight fucking. I mean, Gamrot, or he's not gonna fight Beneil right away. You know what I mean? So,
probably not gonna fight Dustin Poirier again.
Yeah.
They'll probably. That might make him fight Beneil. But then again, they don't want Beneil to beat him, though. And there's a very good chance that he does.
He would beat the shit out of Max Holloway just off merit, I think. Just off size and straight fucking...
I guess if Holloway were to announce tomorrow that he is moving up and he will be fighting in the lightweight division early 2023. Charles Oliveira makes a lot of sense. That's a pretty entertaining fight. Both well-known guys.
I'd fucking watch the fuck out of that fight.
I kind of hate it. I don't know why. I'm not crazy about it.
Just doesn't ring true, huh?
I think it's a perfectly fine fight. I think what it is right now, I'm just looking at it as a hardcore, and I'm thinking like, I could think of a better matchup, but I'm looking at the rankings right now.
Then Max Holloway and fucking Charles Oliveira, like arguably two of the greatest to be in their divisions. Yeah, in the sport, two of the greatest in the sport. Just fucking ambassadors for the sport. Nah, absolutely not.
And no, makes no sense. And Charles Oliveira is certainly a guy who would accept that fight. They don't have to play around and play this whole like, oh, will Justin Gaethje accept that fight or not, or any of this shit. Like, no, they just tell Charles.
Dude, Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira in Brazil, please. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't sound right, though. I know what you mean. It just doesn't hit the ear the right way.
It doesn't hit the ear the right way. Oh, I almost forgot. I was going to ask you for your letter grade of UFC 280. So we're going letter grades
C-.
I was gonna say C- also. I had that in the I had that in the chamber since like before you hopped onto the Google Meet. Okay, well, dude, we are so about to go on that. Like they're just barely not failing, crazy, just barely not failing, dude. Wow, we're on the same wavelength. Do we talk about this UFC Fight Night card coming up?
Banger.
I don't have a breakdown.
The undercard's not bad. I don't either, though. We can do maybe we should do the like 10-minute YouTube video like we talked about where we kind of like break our content down into like palatable algorithm hitting things instead of just trying to be JRE.
I'm in the Empire business.
Yeah. How about we try that? How about we do like a 10-minute? We fucking we actually, we go. This is what we're gonna talk about. This is who we're gonna talk about. This is how long we're gonna talk about for. Go, and then just boom, 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 and then okay. See you next time. Like and subscribe.
Mm-hmm. And hard limits too. Like, no, your time is up, and cutting you off and shit.
None of this talking about Crone Gracie's dad in a fucking waterfall doing belly rolls. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm down for that because I would much rather give this fight its due diligence. I need to pull up some Arnold Allen fights and watch them. At least watch his previous 3 or 4 fights.
It's a damn good fight.
Because it's number 6 versus number 7. So this is not an insignificant fight for the featherweight division at all. So I would feel bad just looking at it. If
Arnold Allen wins this, this is stratosphere. Like. Because Calvin Kattar has been that motherfucker before, and still is.
He's been that motherfucker. I will give a prediction for the co-main event. No. Then I'll be stepping on our content for that day. Do you want to do that?
You're taking Max Griffin?
No, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say no. You want
Khalil Roundtree, mean motherfucker. Don't miss
Dustin
that.
Jacoby, good one. Andre Arlovsky versus Marcos Rogério de Lima. If you want to see a dead guy in the cage, don't miss that fight. Because I think Marcos Rogério de Lima is going to do bad things to Andre Arlovsky.
Yeah, yeah.
The return of 3-2 Tresean Gore versus Josh Fremd.
Oh yeah.
Roman Dolidze and Phil Hawes is the second fight of the night. It's a good fight. Yeah, so we will return. You will probably see us go live on Instagram, and maybe live on
that's
on
a good
YouTube.
One.
What?
That's a good thing. Yeah. No, that I didn't think about that. We've done the live Instagram thing.
Oh, I thought that's what you meant. What you were suggesting.
Oh, I thought we'd get together like on a fucking
just one of these.
One of these, but like a 10-minute video thing where we talk about Roundtree, we talk about Arlovsky, talk about Kattar, talk about like you break it down like what you feel comfortable with talking about, like with really good informative takes, but like very concise and like to the point.
This just sounds like another episode.
Yeah. I mean, too much work, dude.
I say we go live. Just a real quick live video, just breaking down and giving our predictions for the main and the co-main event.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. And then after that, we'll be back next week.
But I will talk about Khalil Roundtree.
We can talk about Khalil
Roundtree. I'll crowbar it in. I like wild motherfuckers like that.
15 minutes is what we'll aim for. Why are we even putting a time limit on it? I think the one we did before was like 20 minutes long, even though we only planned for that to be 10 minutes. So it'll just be as long as it's going to be.
And the best questions came from your buddy in the comment section, like the best fucking production
from Josh. From yeah, Josh was a gem that day. Thank you for actually giving us some stuff to respond to and bounce off of. So
the guy's amazing. If you're listening, you're great, dude.
You are our #1 fan right now.
Oh yeah.
Anyone else listening who is not Josh, well, you think about that for a bit. You think about how you can change that, and you probably will.
Put it in the comments.
You'll probably earn one of our Crone Gracie's dad t-shirts.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to call it right there. Thanks for joining me again, Brandon. It was fun talking about this with you. We're probably going to be talking about the aftermath of this card for a while because these ripples are going to be going across the MMA landscape, and I'm happy and excited to be talking about it with you. We're nearing the end of the year, so we'll start planning for our end of the year.
Dricus Duplessis Darren Till got made today, right?
Got made? That one's been in the books, unless you're saying it got canceled. Please don't tell me.
No, I thought today was like official.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that. As far as I was concerned, as far as I was aware, I thought it was booked already. But it could have been one of those deals where it was announced before it was official.
Jack Della Magdalena's got a fight coming through. That's a fight plug guy.
We didn't talk about the fact that Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul is happening in like 5 days. That fight's happening.
You want to see Anderson Silva fucking
take a dive?
Job one? Tune in.
Everyone's going to be watching that fight. I think we owe Anderson to cover that fight on the day of in our IG live also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because that's going to be happening. Is that going to be happening the same day, or is that going to be on Sunday? I guess I should have been prepared and should have came into this knowing that. But
no, I think it's on Saturday.
Makes a lot of sense that it would be on Saturday. Okay, cool. We will touch on that also. Until then, everybody, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. Have a good night. Take care.
Later.